Okay, now it's time for us to make a motion poster for a movie, you know, that we have selected. This is a very, very important concept that is going on now, okay, which is very interesting. For this, I have selected the Pegasus movie. Okay, this is the character, this is the poster that I have selected, and I also have taken this to extract the Chinese font from this. Okay, this is a action comedy. Okay, so let's consider this and do, and I also have some video effects, a sky. It's just the movement of the skies, and on the other side I have smoke. You can see the smoke is just moving from here to there. We'll have this and we'll try to make out something. So this Pegasus is what I wanted to open in Adobe Photoshop. So I'll open this poster in Adobe Photoshop, and I'll just duplicate this layer. So this is the work layer that we are going to do. So basically what I'm going to try here is remove this man, the hero character, remove the text and remove this car and whatever ways possible. So I'm going to basically separate the layers. So this is the first step here. So it takes a little time for you to separate the layers because you need to focus on the character and then do it. I select the pen tool here. Sorry. Okay. So there are many ways in which you can select. If the background is properly placed, you can just go for wand tool. But here I prefer going with the pen tool because see, this pen tool has all the curve options and everything. So I'll go with the pen tool. Press Ctrl Z. Okay. So start off with some point which you actually would like to start. I'll start from here just randomly. I'm doing. You should actually take your time and do. It should be perfect. All these curves should be perfect enough to get the output. Maintain the same distance, between the body and your outline, so that when you give the feathering option, it should work perfectly. So this has to be continued until you come back to the same point here. Wherever the curves are actually the beauty of the scene, so you have to maintain the curvature. So here, Photoshop offers different tools and techniques. After the selection is done, I'll show you how to manipulate the background. Basically, we are trying to create a clean plate where the background is separate and the objects in the background are separate, so that you can make a sort of animation. Any other fine tunings you can do it later. Okay, you can actually take your time and do this. For the tutorial sake, I'm doing it like a garbage mask. So once the path is selected, you can go to the path, click on the path, come to the layer. Here, if you want, you can add some kind of feathering. Shift F6. I give the feathering as 1. Control C, Control V. Now I've got the man separately here. Okay. So, but in this background, I don't want this man. Okay. So press this, and here you see, you know. Okay. So this is the selection that we have here, and this selection I have chosen the work layer. In this work layer, say I have the transform controls. If I can separate him like this also. Okay. So here there is another option called Shift F5, which is the content plus aware tool. Okay. When I click content aware and give OK, this guy vanishes. Control D. Okay. You can see, some cloning has happened here. If the content is not properly cloned, you need to have feathering. Control Z. Okay, Shift F6. I'll increase this to 10. Okay, now press Shift F5 and content aware. Okay, so when you feather it, it happens like this. So basically, what we do here is we select a random outline to show Photoshop that this actually is a clone stamp tool which happens inside the content aware. Okay, I give OK now. Now you see completely it's gone. You can't see any difference. This looks like a plain background, isn't it? So this is the work layer. So this is the hero. Okay, now I want to do the same thing for the title that we have. I'll go to the work layer, select the title, Pegasus. Pegasus. Okay. So here I copy this and paste this. Control C, Control V. I got the title here separately. And this part again I wanted to draw a random garbage. Shift F6, 2, Shift F5, content aware, and sorry, Control. Okay, this is already there. Okay, Control Shift F5. Yeah, now it's gone. So I have the text separately. This is the title. Am I correct? Movie title, hero. So gone. Now my focus is going to shift towards the car that is here. Okay. So the car, though it is not pretty much in detail, I'm going to draw a mask for this with the shadows or whatever that is visible. Okay, even though the detail is less, but I can still use it as an element in the motion poster that I'm going to do. I'll just select the shadows also. All right. Now go to the path, select the path, give a kind of feathering, Control C, Control V. Now the car is separate. Now here, select the van tool, just draw a garbage mask and Shift F5, content aware, Control D. Got it? Now this is my car layer. So I have my car here, I have my title here, I have my hero here. This is all separate. Now these pillars that we see here can also be of help to me. So I wanted to extract these pillars from the work layer. So I'll again use the pen tool here and yeah, let draw this mask for the pillar. So this is pillar 1. You can see the working path here. This is pillar 2. So likewise you can separate as many layers as you want. So I'm going to stop by selecting these pillars. Okay, so these pillars are now going to be separated. Okay, Control C, Control V. These are pillars. You can see the pillars are separate. Here again, these pillars, you can remove these pillars or you can even have these pillars like this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is rename this work as clean BG. Okay, and I'll save this Photoshop file in VFX Pegasus edit. So this is a Photoshop file that we have. Okay, this background, now maybe we don't require this, isn't it? Background has everything together. So save, Control S. Now come back to After Effects, File, New, New Project, New Composition from Footage, Pegasus Edit, Editable Layers. Because this is a Photoshop layer, you will have all the layers that you have here. All these names will come there. Okay, give OK. So this is the layer that we have, Pegasus Edit. Okay, so in this, if you double click, you can see all the layers that you have. Okay, clean BG, the pillars, the car, the title, the hero. Okay, first of all, we'll decide some sort of simple animations that we wanted to do. We'll come to the title, transform, position, scaling. Okay, so in the first position, I want this to be outside. So maybe in 3 seconds, this comes in and occupies the space. Okay, so here maybe I will make the scaling to 75 when it comes here, and again here it's going to be 75, the scaling maybe 79 or something. And at the end of the 6 seconds, because my composition uh, settings, you can see it is 6, you can change this to whatever time that you want. I'll make it to 10 seconds so that I get some extra time here. So you can see this is going up to 10 seconds. You can just expand this. It's all layers only, you can expand them easily. Okay, so in about 10 seconds I'm increasing this Pegasus text to this much. So what happens basically, the text comes in and slowly it grows. Very slowly it grows. Okay, go to the home screen mode. Now finish the text part. Any effects that you want for the text, say for example you wanted to add a kind of shadow, perspective, drop shadow, put it to the title. You get the title with the shadow, and you can adjust the softness. Always zoom and check. Okay, you can adjust the softness, you can adjust the distance. Okay, so it looks pretty good. Okay, now this is done. Now we'll come for the car layer. What happens to the car? Car basically, I press S, S for scaling. I press P, P for positioning. Okay, so the scaling and positioning, what is going to be your final position here? Okay, that you have to decide. So your final positioning and final scaling of the car. So I don't want it to be too much big. I'll just move it to this much, and when it comes here in the first frame, I'll make it pretty much smaller. Okay, so that when I play I feel as if the car is coming closer to me. It's still moving. Okay, so this is fine. Other enhancements we can do later. Now I have the hero. We'll see what the hero does. Okay, press scaling yes for the hero. Let him be here. Okay, and I'll switch on the animation for the scaling and go to the last frame and define the final frame of the hero. So he jumps and comes here on top of the text. Okay, yeah, cool. He comes here, but from where he is coming? Okay, so that is also important. So this is 69. So in 1 second he becomes about 70, and in the starting frame he is going to be in 0. He comes like this and then slowly he moves along with the car. But the hero action movement is not there here. So what we'll try to do for the hero is we'll add the puppets. One, sorry, undo. I'll add one here. I'll add one in the knee. I'll add one here. One, one. For the hand, if you need any movement, then there should be a shoulder movement, and the head and neck. Okay, so he comes here, and we'll see if his head is moving slowly. You can check here, the head is moving slowly, and we also need some leg movements, isn't it? There should be some leg movement to basically control, basically give the feel of him moving, and the hand movement as well. So if you carefully observe the poster here, his legs are moving, his hand is also moving, and head is also moving. Okay, so like this you can make some animations. Now, after understanding the layers here, what you have to do is maybe I'll import the smoke video that I had. I'll take this smoke and then put it behind the pillars. So clean BG, pillars, where is the smoke? Maybe the size of this is pretty big. No, yes. Now only the smoke starts. You can see it's very, very faint. Yes. Linear or it's overlaid, but the smoke is very little. You can see very little smoke is coming here. Even with the soft light, I can't see the smoke. I think the smoke should be a little heavier. The smoke is very little. Okay, let's see. Let's try and composite the sky. It also has. Okay, okay. This is the sky layer, and I don't want the audio. And I'll select the pen tool and maybe make. Sorry, what is happening? So I just wanted to show the mask around the sky only. So I'll select the remaining areas. How many masks are there? I'll delete the remaining. So mask 3. No, this is not a proper mask. I just there's something wrong. You see, mask isn't coming properly. Okay, I'm drawing the mask here. Yes, I got the mask. Now I'll go to the mask feather. I'll make some feathering, expansion on the minus side. Okay, I have placed it behind the pillars and behind the car so that you see all this is happening. So this one you can check for different lighting, whether you want soft lighting or hot lighting. So now this is in screen mode. Okay, this looks fine. Okay, now there is something else that you can do here. Like see, this is a 3D layer. Okay, you can just switch on and make this as 3D layers. Okay, come to Pegasus edit. This is the edit one, this is the final one. I have made all these as 3D layers. I can just create a camera with 35 mm lens. Okay, I will also create a new null object here, and in the camera you see this is how the camera is focused. Okay, and this camera can be attached to the null object. So any changes that I make to the null object, the camera will react. You got it? Any changes that I make to the null object, the camera will react. So the total size, it depends on the null object only. Now if I wanted to make any changes, say I select this, sorry, because when you make this x, y and z axis, you know you get x, y and z. So I will select the null object here. I'll just unlink this. First I'll make the null object bigger. I'll place the null object properly. Alright. Now if I link the camera to the null object, now you see, so any squeeze, stretch or anything that you make to the camera, that will affect the null object. So the rotation, the y, the x, okay, and the orientation of this xyz position orientation, the points of interest that you wanted to show here. Okay, so you have to look at the camera here. You see the camera is widespread like this. Okay, it's because of the angle that you have chosen. Camera is widespread, but your the null object that you have chosen is not widespread. This is the null object, isn't it? So and based on this only, the camera will usually react. We'll get about this null object and camera in very much detail in the upcoming classes. As of now, you can render this with proper music and you can take your output. This can be done for any movie that you would like to. And you guys also know the plugins that you have used already, isn't it? The external plugin like Saber Effects. You can apply the Saber Effects for this. You can make any presets that you have in the Saber, and you can always position this. Refer to the previous tutorials, and then you can make these adjustments. You can enable the mask or enable the mask glow. With all these, you can actually refer to the previous tutorials that has been taught in the classes, and then you can. This is the drop shadow one that we already have. Okay, taken from Photoshop. So any effects that you want to add here, you can add, and then you can proceed further. So once this is done, you can do. So to get these two views, you can see this is two view. You can switch to single view uh, anytime that you want. When you click on the 3D, this automatically works. Okay, so you can add a music. You can download the Pegasus music, and then you can do. Even for this man, just in case you wanted to add a drop shadow, you can always add the drop shadow. If you want to position, you can position it, and the distance, of course, the distance can also be done. Sometimes when you don't want the drop shadow to be like that, what we actually do is we press Ctrl D and duplicate this. We go for the rotation. Okay, so if you rotate this in x-axis, it comes like this. Okay, so x-axis 180-degree comes like this. So usually what we do is we take this like this. Okay, then we apply kind of blur for this. It can be a normal Gaussian blur also. A normal Gaussian blur. So apply this blur, increase the blurriness. You have the blurriness here when we increase it. Then you can go for the brightness and contrast. Go here, reduce the brightness. Automatically it looks like a shadow here. So what happens when it comes? You see. So this positioning, what we will do is here, you see, come to the positioning here, press P. This is the position animation. Okay, your scaling animation is the same. So what you have to do is here you need to animate the position from the beginning. So uh, basically you're going to move the position in the y-axis. It's not to be seen here. I'll switch off this 3D mode for this, and I will go for the rotation here. Alright, now the positioning. So this and this positioning should match, isn't it? Actually, this leg and that leg is different. I will just try to flip. Now this is flipped. Flipping or flip and flop. Yes. Now you see, you got the flip and flop. This is there, and then now you can position. So this animation has to be made. How far? When this comes here, this goes down, 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 down. So you get the feel of a shadow all the time. So from here it grows. So your position here is different. Here you won't get the shadow, isn't it? So don't mind. Only when it comes here you get the shadow. Only at this point you start getting the shadow. So position this, and we'll go for the opacity. Press T, so we'll make it 0, and when it comes here it becomes 100. Okay, here comes the positioning. You need to position it properly to get the shadow. See the shadow? This part you have to animate it properly. I'll go to the positioning animation, get the keyframes of the positions. So I delete all this. Okay, from here only it comes. You see? It comes and then it goes slowly like this. Okay, now you can blur it a little more. The Gaussian blur like this. Got it. So the shadow feel is already there. Okay, you're almost done with the motion poster. Look for proper music. Pegasus music, probably. You can search for Pegasus music.
Sometimes while writing my newsletters, I tend to type so fast that there are spelling errors or some of my sentences.
Better man, that it was out of guilt that I let you go. But I just wanted you to know.
So download any theme music. You can download any music and then sync it here in the music and get this thing done. Okay, so choose any movie that you want, and you can make a motion poster for any movie. See you. Bye.